All right, Mr. C, almost 6 p.m. Sunday night the 14th. Went to a sports club. I have no TV. I only have the online, so I'll be able to watch the game tonight, but couldn't watch the Donkeys. And it was much more of a cultural experience, and I will get to your letters, but I first want to get this out. Much more of a cultural experience than than I remembered years ago. Three attractive women, but there happened to be a empty seat next to them with a good line to the game. Everything else was pretty well blocked up. Everyone was sitting. And I said, "Excuse me, can I sit here?" And she said, "Oh no. Oh no. No. Oh no, no. Someone else is sitting there." So I just moved back a step to the table, sat down, said whatever. And the waitress coming around and said I could not order one beer, little 12 ounces, but I could have two Pabst drafts, PBTs, they said, or whatever. They said it real fast. So that's what I had. I drank them throughout the entire hour and a half, 2 hours of the second half of the game. Most of my observation in secondary to the game was these two girls, three girls, and one of the fellas sitting next to the girl had a finger right up the crotch, almost to the labia, and I thought, oh, okay. And at one point, the woman grabbed her own breasts and lifted them up, and then the other time, the fellow was giving her a little help. And I haven't seen this kind of behavior in years, but it was enjoyable. And this big, fat, 75-pound overweight guy sat down immediately next to her, and I don't think he looked up for 30 minutes. He was just staring recklessly, hopelessly at these three girls. And then there was this little short Harley's Angel guys. He had the motorcycle shirt and the Sturgis, and I've never seen one 5'4", and he had the erection beard. They go up and they go out like that Boston finisher did. That's real popular now. The erection beard, straight up, straight out, as far as they can grow it. And that was interesting to see. And then there were some hippie types who were going in and out, changing their hairstyles as they were outside, long hair, long greasy hair, and smoking cigarettes as they sat outside. And they were coming kind of in and out constantly. I don't know if they were interested in the game or not, but that's all I was interested in was the game, and I got a little bit more. The Donkeys snuck one out. This is not going to be a Super Bowl year. And unfortunately, Peyton Manning is going to end his career with a neck injury. There's no doubt in my mind. I wish him the best, but with two bad ankles and a mediocre team, he can't do it alone at age 37 years old. My! So it's not looking good for the Donkeys. I did see the Browns squeaked one out, and that probably made your entire evening, perhaps your entire weekend. And lucky they got those last few points, or you would be pacing the hallways. All right, now I'll respond to your letter in a blog that I will stick together with this one. Good day. All right, Mr. C, I'm back on the microphone. I've got your letter in front of me and like to respond to that. Thank you for taking the time to write. I always appreciate that. The Delhi reference, the Pakistani Delhi reference, was simply a reference to Mike and nothing ever being acceptable, and how I was treated, I believe, differently than Matt and Rob. I don't brew and stew over these facts. I simply use them for comedy. As you say, no matter what you do is ever going to be enough, and that's what I felt. The hairstyles, the earrings, shavings, and nail, I needed to fill that a script out And I was absolutely filthy that particular morning. I hadn't taken a shower in 3 days. And I thought, well, what a way to do it. And I literally did each one of those steps, as I said, dad, and then a cross blur out, and then a shower or a shave, cross blur out, and a change of clothes, and finally ended up with the hair and a nice suit on. And then Mike comes back with the joke that the money was already sent 2 weeks ago. So that was the whole deal with that. No major comedy. It was just an idea of how to flush a character out and then have at least one punchline at the end. And that was all I could come up with. Was the money has already been sent, Sean. And so you are grateful to his kindness. I was too when he was kind. It's been a long 3 years, and I've vacillated up and down countless times, oftentimes about Matty and how he is treated so radically different. I go to Lake Ridge Academy and I get the bus, an hour bus ride. Matt goes to Lake Ridge Academy and suddenly he's got the 412, and I get to tag along. So your encounter in '76 at 40 Carol Lynn with Mike and Grandma Annie, good. Yeah, those are excellent moments. No one was asking me a lot of questions either during that time. When are you gonna gain some weight, Sean? You're skinny. Bones was my name, which I absolutely detested. Nothing I could do about it since the 8th, 9th grade. That was it. Tag was a tag. And Annie's interest and encouragement and talking to you was Grandma Annie. She didn't neglect anyone in the room, regardless of status or pretty boy. She was always kind, and that's a great lesson that I had the privilege of learning under my frequent visits to the Cape. And then she was down in Bath, Ohio for those 10 years when we received our miracle water from the angel just about when you were ready to quit. And I had to exaggerate a little bit about the distance because I didn't know what I was going to do with you if you quit. I mean, it would have been a $100 cab ride home. I can't think of anything else to do. So fortunately we made that. And urination, that's a done issue. If they want to peek out their blinds and watch you urinate on your rocks, then you've got a case of them for a peeping Tom. I say it again. You have indeed suffered and endured and survived prostate cancer. End of discussion with the cop. And I'm glad he saw it that way. As far as your fellow neighbors working on cars, I don't see much difference between Matty there either. Attractive girls constantly visiting in and out. I wouldn't pay attention to whatever they were doing. It's not my business. Only business if you damage my property, you abuse me verbally, you're causing trouble, loud behavior after 10 p.m. at night. Front page journal. God, just think if you were one of your colleagues and got their picture on the front page journal for a DUI. All during my drinking years, and there were about 5 or 6 of them, I always walked, and even to buy the liquor, I walked. If I had access to a car, I wouldn't use it. I carried it home, and never did I consume anything that was bought from a liquor store anywhere but by my computer at home as I wrote poetry. And so I agree. Maybe they deserve it. And the cost is unbelievable to kill a kid. This I'm very excited about. Can't hear my clap here. I'm very excited about you considering Tampa, Florida. That's outstanding. That to me beats Tahoe. You can't grow an orange in Tampa, Florida at that latitude. You gotta really go about 2 hours south to Bonita and Fort Myers and Naples. But what an outstanding area. You get the cooler temperatures off the bay. Port Charlotte area, outstanding. I would know my P's and Q's. I would inquire about how you're going to be verbally examined, and I would have the answer to classroom control, classroom management, as I call it. And you have tremendous experience. Those people in Tahoe are insane. You've been teaching derelict students for 5 years of experience. And then the experience with the journalism students who pop in the earplugs the second you start. I mean, how much more management could you possibly have? Now it's just a matter of articulating, maybe spelling every word correctly, maybe taking 10 dummy tests. That's what Kira is doing on the MCAT. She's taking the dummy tests to get it right, and she was disappointed in her initial score and pleased with the Kaplan courses that give you a shot at practicing before you take your second and final MCATs. Robbie as well took the dummy course when he was going to go into law. So Major Havoc, hand ping, or hand rack. I like Obama. He's prudent. Unlike Bush, who went in and killed 1 million people, and that's why this wretched struggle exists today with these ISIL savages that they don't even have a guillotine to cut someone's head off. I believe they're simply cutting it like a goat. One carotid artery here, one carotid artery here, bleed out in 60 seconds. And I think the only thing that could have ever savagely maintained this kind of seconds, and I think the only thing that could have ever savagely maintained this kind of barbaric mentality is Saddam Hussein. George Sr. never really could get his name right. He called him Saddam for 4 years, and then on the phone for an hour a day to his nitwitted son, encouraging to do this invasion that killed 1 million innocent Iraqis. And this is karma. This is what happens. They spare all of these lives, 10,000 British and American lives. And what do they have now? A year later, they have a situation that was worse than they even began. Total anarchy. So on a more happy note, again, I encourage you to consider that area and to find out someone who's applied there, another teacher. Ask them what they're going to be tested on, and maybe do a little more homework this time. All right, good day.